Learning to speak a language in 30 days. Day 2. Let's create your first language island. Let's learn a couple hundred sentences, or more if you want, today, right? It doesn't mean that you remember all of them perfectly today, but if you do all the exercises I'm going to show you in this video, and then you keep reviewing the sentences simply by listening to the audio files, you'll be able to remember most of them pretty well by the end of the week, and you'll be able to use them as well. All right. So it's pretty simple. First thing you need to do is take the ChatGPT prompt or whatever AI you want to use. You take that prompt and you modify it with your information. It's got in brackets an example there. Uh, I'm an engineer from this country living in this place. I like this, and this. Basically, the more you write there, the better, because then the questions you'll get from the prompt, the questions AI will ask you, will be more appropriate, more personalized. So then you can give your answers. The goal here is not for you to memorize sentences written by AI. The goal is for you to use those sentences to answer them with your own words and learn to speak the language the way you would speak in your native language, right? It's not about memorizing AI sentences, although you learn AI questions because like these are pretty useful questions, most of them. But the important part is your answers. If it's personalized, it's much more useful. You're much more likely to use them, and also much easier to remember because it's your own words. All right. So yeah, relevant, personalized sentences. So it's important that you write as much as you can before pasting the prompt in ChatGPT or Gemini or Gemini, how you pronounce that, whatever, in using AI. And then you take the questions that you get from AI and you paste them here. By the way, if you're not bothered by doing any of this, you just don't want to do any of that, just learn these sentences that I'm feeding you here. They're not personalized, they're not as good for you because these are just examples, but you could. If you're that lazy, you could do that. But I highly recommend you either learn these and your own or just substitute this. Not here, make a copy. Um, and use your own questions and answers. All right. So, what's your name? And then you just answer. No, I'm not that old. I'm, I'm 35. All right. You can. No translation. You need to. This is the translation code here. Um, you need to make sure that if you're writing more stuff, where are you from? Okay, let's say that's something that I could normally learn to say in all the languages I learn. So, okay, you just have to drag this and you get the translation. And you just have to keep doing this for the whole thing. All right. Make a copy. Again, don't try to edit this. I'm not going to allow you, first of all, because I don't want you. There's always someone who ruins it for everyone else. And there might be 100 people who do everything perfectly, and then there's one that just ruins it for everyone else. So when you share something like this, so make a copy. I'm not going to allow you to edit this. All right. Um, and the more you write in each one of the answers, the better, because the more information. And you've got 100 questions. Not all of them are going to be super useful. You can skip those, but in the good ones, try to answer as much as you can. Just keep adding more. Certa Tuerenkavat Goyan, add another line, and you just write more and more. This takes some time, but it's time really well spent because these are all useful sentences. And once you've got this, let's say I've written a couple hundred sentences, so I've got 100 questions and 250 or 200 or 300 sentences worth of answers. Let's say I've got 300 or 400 sentences in total between questions and answers. Then take this and we go to any kind of, well, select this whole thing and make sure that you don't get any of these values things. So then it will say it like, dear Sada Shirish, value. So you don't want that. Um, by the way, if my pronunciation of Serbian is terrible, it's my second day learning. So I'm, I'm, I'm a fast learner, but not that fast. It's very easy though. If you speak Russian and, and Ukrainian, this is pretty easy. So yeah, speaking of which, again, this is Serbian. The only thing you need to do here is if you're learning whatever you're learning French, FR. There's a list of all the translation codes. Like ES is Spanish, DE is Deutsch, German, uh, EN is English, obviously. So this is French now. If you're learning something like Arabic and you can't read Arabic, what you need to do is then copy, just translate the whole thing to Arabic first, and then copy this and simply paste this in any kind of AI and give it the instruction to romanize it. Romanize and then this text, and you'll get the exact same text, but in a way that you can read it, like in Roman characters, right? And the same works for Chinese or Hindi or whatever. Anyway, back to Serbian. So you write your information, you get in the prompt, you get a list of questions, you answer the questions with your own information, you paste it here, you answer all the questions, and you create audio files. Yeah, copy this, paste it on TTS Maker or similar text to speech audio, and get an audio file. And then you start learning. And all of this might sound really complicated now, but once you've done it a few times, it'll be just really easy to do. And it will make everything much faster. Again, I could feed you materials to learn, and I will. I'm going to give you a lot of materials to learn, but it's really important that you also use your own sentences. I'm not you. I don't know what you do in your life and what you talk about. You need to write about yourself, right? And you need to learn relevant sentences for yourself. But again, just with the example sentences of the verbs and later the adjectives and the nouns and all of that, you already learn a lot just with that. But if you do this, this is going to do a lot more for your speaking skills. All right. So you've got the audio files, you've got the text, you've got everything. What do we do next? Three things. First, play the audio file and read. Read while listening. Also, just quickly glance at the English version if you don't understand this, and you shouldn't understand the first time. And you read while listening from start to finish at least 5 times. It shouldn't be that much. It's like, I mean, I guess it really depends on how much you write, but it's going to, like 300 sentences is around 10 minutes. It also depends on the language, but it shouldn't be too much. So in half an hour, you can probably read it from start to finish 5 times. And each time it'll be much easier to follow, read. Maybe you can read it aloud as well. But that's the next exercise. Then you will do the same thing, but while shadowing. So five. This is what I recommend. Again, it really depends on how much time you've got and all of that. What I recommend you do is at least 5 times of reading while listening and checking the meaning of what you don't know. Don't pause it, just keep going. Like this should be fast. You need to train uh, yourself to just process the language quickly, all right? Fast. So play it, follow it. And I can't do a demonstration right now because I'm not very good with computers. So I can barely do a screen recording. Don't ask me to also play an audio file at the same time. But yeah, you play it, you kako se zoveš, moje ime je Mikel, koliko imaš godina, yeah, you read it at the same time, 5 times, and then 5 more times you read it while listening and you repeat it aloud, like you shadow it. That's what's recommended. If you want to do more than that, great. You don't to, if you want to do less than that because you don't have the time, again, this is a 30-day program, and it's, again, if you want results, it's an intensive program. If you want to take it easy, then don't come crying to me if you don't get results. uh, Again, maybe you don't care that much about the 30 days. It's just you want to make progress and you've got the time you've got. And in that case, if you read it while listening once or twice and then shadow it once or twice, you're making progress. All right. But don't do less than what I'm telling you to do. And then at the end of the 30 days, tell me that it didn't work. All right. Do as much as you can. At least what I, if you want results fast, like do, you should be working on this. And I'm getting a lot of questions about this. How much time should I dedicate to this every day, and how much you've got? It's an intensive course. You should dedicate, if you've got 12 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Then, yeah, if you do it for 1 or 2 hours a day, you'll notice a lot of improvements at the end of the 30 days. But again, 3 4 hours if you want to get really good in 30 days. And if you want to improve even more, then it's more time. It's just makes sense, right? Anyway, um, listen while reading, shadowing, second part, and then the third part would be active recall. And this exercise is going to be very difficult, and the and that's why we're doing it in the end. It's obviously, it doesn't make sense to do it in the beginning because if you haven't read it and listened to it several times, it's going to be impossible. And also, you won't know the pronunciation at all, maybe. So yeah, this is basically reading them in English and trying to say them in the target language. Как ты kako se zoveš? Moje ime je Mikel. Moje ime je Mikel. Koliko, koliko imaš godina? Ja, this one I don't know. Ja sam veoma star. Okay. So you try to say it. Obviously, I haven't done any of this yet. So, but yeah, you try to say it, then you see, then you say it correctly. Ja sam veoma star. The numbers, I have no idea how to say. I guess pretty like 35. It'll be something similar to that. Like all Slavic languages are quite similar, but you learn the numbers really well by listening to them. If you've listened to it while reading and then shadowed it as well, you'll know how to say it by the time you're doing this. Ja sam iz Baskije. Baskije. To je mali region na severu Španije. Španije. And you do it from, like, again, how much of this you want to do really depends on how much time you've got and how much motivation and energy you've got. This is a brutal exercise. It's, if you do it seriously, it's very difficult and frustrating, but it's extremely effective. If you ask Huberman, Andrew Huberman, or Carl Newport, or any of those like the actual scientists who talk about learning and all that, they all say that active recall is the king of learning. Like, all the best students use this. Get exposed to information once and then try to remember. Like, test yourself again, test yourself again. It's way more difficult and effort intensive, but it's much more efficient than just input or something like that, right? Active, active recall. So, yeah, that's the plan. You do active recall as many times as you want or as you can as you can push yourself to do, and that's it. And then you, when you're not able to say it, and you want to be able to say it in the beginning, obviously, because it's very difficult, you then just repeat it aloud correctly, and then you try again later, right? Um, Also, important, you take the audio files that you'll create with text to speech software and you add it to your playlist with all the other audio files that we'll be using. That playlist, you'll be listening to it all the time, passively. The more the better, while you work out, while you go for walks, whatever. Um, so that these sentences, you don't have to come back and then do more reviewing of this, because if you've done so much reading and listening and then active recall and shadowing with this, then just by listening to the this file on your playlist like once per day or several times a day or once every couple of days, you'll remember a lot of it just by doing that, right? That's the easiest way to review a lot of content. If you just listen to random stuff, it's not going to be very effective when it comes to learning, active learning, to learn things you want to be able to say. But if you first drill them a lot, so you listen and repeat a lot, and then do active recall and all of that, and then the following days and weeks you listen to that audio file several times, you will remember them. And we'll do this with, well, this is the first one, but we'll do this with over 20 of these language islands. So thousands of sentences, personalized sentences, together with the example sentences for the verbs and the adjectives and all of that. So, yeah, that's it for today. Like I said, materials are being uploaded, generated and uploaded. It's a massive amount of content, so it's taking some time. If there are languages that are still not available, I've got a list and I'm trying to add more and more as fast as I can. But if there's a specific one that you want, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to get it done as soon as possible. Right? I'm adding them in, well, by level of, by order of popularity, basically. Like if a lot, the languages that most people wanted me to add, I've uploaded them already, and then if people keep asking for certain ones, I'll upload them as fast as possible. Then some that are very rare, or like a lot of people ask for Macedonian for some reason. I don't know. I guess it's similar to this, right? All the Balkan languages are pretty similar. I don't know. I didn't know there was such interest in Macedonian. I'm creating content for that. It'll be uploaded at some point this weekend, right? So keep checking, because again, I apologize for those who wanted to start and haven't been able to start because the materials aren't ready yet. But the next 24, 48 hours, most languages should be ready. Any questions? Let me know, and also let me know in the comments how it's going. What's how the experience been so far with this learning method.